Welcome back to our journey through the fascinating world of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime's Light Novel. Let's continue from the last part, where we left.
Shinji, Mark, and Jen were amazed by the variety of food in Tempest, from street stalls to fine dining, offering tastes reminiscent of their old world. They found the town comfortable and entertaining, with high-quality amenities like bathrooms and their cozy inn with an open-air bath. Jokingly, Mark suggested staying in Tempest, but they quickly dismissed the idea due to potential consequences and the looming war. Despite being impressed by Tempest's civilization and entertainment, they knew desertion was not an option, especially with war on the horizon. So, they reluctantly focused on their mission to challenge the labyrinth, following orders without further consideration. As Shinji, Mark, and Jen progressed through floor 40 of the dungeon, they found it surprisingly easy, despite the initial caution they had. They joked about Masayuki's recent achievement of reaching floor 50, downplaying his skill. Despite being avid gamers, they recognized the dungeon's design as resembling a challenging video game with traps and monsters that seemed manageable once understood. Jen's ability to detect traps proved invaluable, allowing them to navigate safely. They concluded that the dungeon's difficulty stemmed from its novelty rather than its actual danger, feeling confident in their ability to overcome it without much risk of harm. In their research, Shinji's team learned about the resurrection bracelet, which they received for free from the admission desk. If they died in the dungeon, the bracelet would bring them back to the entrance unharmed. This safety measure left them puzzled, as it seemed out of place in the serious world they lived in. However, their main concern was not knowing how deep the dungeon went and how much food they could carry. To their surprise, the admission desk informed them that they could find an inn at each stairway, where they could stay and purchase refreshments for a low price. Additionally, there were traders at the inn who would buy any excess items they found. While Shinji wished for more substantial food options. After a week of navigating the labyrinth, Shinji, Mark, and Jen relaxed in their inn room, marveling at the wealth they had amassed. Mark noted the surprisingly comfortable accommodations of the inn and the substantial earnings from selling equipment they didn't need. Shinji displayed a roll of gold coins they had collected, a substantial sum from rewards and bounty hunts, making them one of the wealthiest parties. Despite the challenges faced by other dungeon runners, including Masayuki's team, who were stalled on floor 60, Shinji's party had managed to defeat formidable foes like the Tempest Serpent. They obtained rare weapons with slots, which were highly valuable but mysterious in nature, appearing only in boss chambers and as drops from strong monsters. The trio debated whether to sell them or wait for Ghidorah's guidance, noting their rarity and circulation in town, with rumors of finding them in chests from floor 30 onwards. Mark looked at the strange weapons they found and wondered if they were really worth the high prices. The three friends couldn't figure out what was special about these weapons and thought the sellers were acting weird. They decided to wait and see what Ghidorah would say before they did anything. Mark showed off his Minos Bardish pole axe, a rare weapon made of mithril that they got from a treasure chest on the 50th floor. He talked about how hard it is to find gear like this, unlike the common weapons made by the Empire. Shinji brought up what Ghidorah said about how tough it is to make magisteel, and that special gear needs a lot of magic energy over time to become really unique after someone owns it. Mark thought it would be really hard to find a place that could make such special weapons. His friends weren't sure what to think. They all knew these weapons were very rare and powerful, and they were grateful to Tempest for giving them such gifts. But something didn't feel right. They were amazed by the praise and rewards they got from Tempest, which made them think Tempest was an amazing place. They liked the idea of living in Tempest, but they knew there was a war coming and they couldn't just leave. They felt sad but accepted that they had to give up their dreams for now. Shinji and his friends were getting ready to go deeper into the dungeon. They talked about how Mark's special pole axe would be great for fighting the undead on the next floor, called the Haven of the Dead. The dungeon felt like a video game to them, with harder challenges and big monsters every 10 floors. They remembered tough fights with creatures like a giant spider and a huge serpent. They knew harder fights were coming, but they were brave and kept going because they knew they were safe in the dungeon. They wanted to get to the bottom and find out the secrets there. So, they went to sleep, ready for the next day's adventure. After navigating through a poisonous swamp and a corroded wasteland, Shinji's team finally reached the stairs leading to floor 59, bringing them one step closer to the boss's chamber on floor 60. Although it had taken them nearly half as long as it did to reach floor 50, the difficulty had significantly increased. Fully rested and prepared, they steeled themselves for the challenge ahead, knowing they were about to face another formidable opponent. Going back a little bit, Rimuru was thinking hard about how well their spies were doing. Soai and Moss had people watching over the forest of Jura, the coast from Farminus to Inglesia, and even the mountains. But Rimuru was still worried about getting news fast enough. If two spies were caught at the same time, they wouldn't be able to tell Rimuru what was happening, which could be dangerous. Rimuru shared these concerns with Soai. Even if the spies were found but not hurt, fighting could slow things down. Rimuru thought about using magic to keep an eye on things, but the magic they had was hard to use, didn't give much information, and only worked on one place at a time. Plus, if someone put up a magic shield, the spying magic wouldn't work at all. Rimuru realized that the distant view spell wasn't up to the task of surveilling powerful foes. However, a new idea struck him, repurposing the physical magic Megiddo. This magic used water droplets to focus sunlight, so Rimuru thought, why not use it for surveillance? He envisioned floating water balls reflecting the land below, which could then be transcribed for easy viewing. If not, perhaps they could project an image through a high-altitude lens and broadcast it through a monitor. It would require combining different magical elements, like telescopic lenses and transmission systems, but Raphael assured Rimuru it was doable with the right spells. Once completed, this new monitoring system would make gathering information a breeze, helping them keep tabs on enemy movements and potentially control the war. Rimuru knew some might see it as a distraction, but as the saying goes, those who control information control the world. And Rimuru believed this magic could give them that control. During the Russo-Japanese War, Admiral Hayakuro Togo faced the crucial challenge of predicting where he would encounter the enemy fleet. Similarly, in the current situation, Rimuru had to strategize carefully to concentrate their forces effectively against the Empire's movements. If they spread themselves too thin, defeat was likely, given their numerical disadvantage. Victory hinged on deciphering the Empire's intentions and positioning their troops strategically. Completing the monitoring magic was essential for Rimuru to gain the upper hand. Despite trying to build suspense, Rimuru already had a test setup in place, and they were simply requesting additional improvements from Raphael. Realizing they had been overworking themselves, Rimuru decided to take a well-deserved break and enjoy a cup of Shuna's tea to alleviate fatigue. While relaxing, Rimuru contemplated testing their completed monitoring magic when Beretta's urgent report interrupted their thoughts through thought communication. Beretta reported that another party had successfully passed floor 50 of the labyrinth. The first group, led by Masayuki, had reached floor 59 before taking a break, contributing to the thriving business of the labyrinth. Many challengers utilized their services daily, enriching their coffers. Over time, regular customers began to tackle higher levels, employing strategies like zombie attacks and sacrifice runs to exploit the no-death rule. As challengers progressed into the 30s, they faced tougher monsters and traps, requiring sharper skills and better equipment. Despite the challenges, some parties adapted well, developing instincts to evade traps effectively. Thanks to the efforts of the leading parties, many challengers reached the boss monster on floor 40, but that's usually where their journey ended. The Tempest Serpent, a powerful A- creature, awaited them, known for its devastating breath attack that often left parties defeated and equipment destroyed. However, this situation turned into a lucrative opportunity for us, as we provided replacements under a "you break it, you bought it" policy. Despite the challenges posed by the Serpent, it became a reliable source of income for us. Unfortunately, even our Guardian on floor 50 met its end, but a new legitimate party managed to surpass it, earning them the bounty and bringing more attention and activity to the labyrinth. On floor 50, Bovix and Aquix, two powerful magic-born creatures, guarded the area, taking turns as bosses. Their fights were not just about brute strength anymore, they displayed intelligent strategies and had become best friends. Rimuru had set up a special prize for defeating them, which included items from the unique class Minos series, named after the legendary Minotaur. This gear was top of the line, but there were only a few complete sets available. Losing one of them was concerning, but what impressed Rimuru more was the fighting skill of the party that defeated them. Rimuru planned to keep an eye on them in case they became potential allies or adversaries. Hence, an urgent report was received about the demise of Bovix or Aquix, indicating a significant development in the labyrinth. The winning team consists of 3 individuals, each possessing unique skills, but Rimuru does not recognize them. Despite their newcomer status in the dungeon, they managed to defeat Bovix, which raises suspicions, especially considering the looming war. Rimuru sees them as potential spies taking advantage of the current situation. Urgently needing more information about them, Rimuru postpones their magic monitor practice and heads to the command room inside the labyrinth.
That's it for today, guys, and thanks for watching the video. Stay tuned for next chapter. Until then, goodbye.